Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to take this moment to say thank you for listening to the Real ResQ podcast. It means a lot to me that you enjoy these stories as much as I do. Since the start of this podcast, we've had a lot of support from all over the world. It has been amazing. Now, we have companies joining our team that also want to say thank you for all that you are doing out there standing the watch. These companies are offering discounts on their products as a way to support the rescue community and those tuning into the Real ResQ podcast. Just go to therealresq.com, click on sponsors, and see these incredible offers for yourself. This episode of the Real ResQ podcast is brought to you by Breeze Eastern, the world's only dedicated helicopter hoist and winch provider. Axness, because when lives are at stake and conditions are challenging, clear communication is of the utmost importance. SR3 Rescue Concepts, because you don't know what you don't know. And Versalifts, to be your best, you need to squat your best. Breeze Eastern, they dedicate themselves to our helicopter rescue world. Since the very first helicopter rescue in November of 1945, Breeze Eastern has designed and manufactured superior rescue hoist solutions. While much of the technology and the unique mission requirements have changed over the past 75 years, their commitment to the rescuers, the operators, and those being rescued has not. Contact them today by visiting them at breeze-eastern.com. The Axness PNG wireless ICS system can bring cutting-edge wireless intercommunication system technology to any aircraft. The PNG system can be fully integrated into an existing ICS system or can be carried on and off as a mobile base station. They can go anywhere at any time on any aircraft. Plus, with the strongest and most robust waterproof handheld in the market, this system can take a hit and keep working. Their wireless intercom systems are designed to enhance situational awareness through improved communication capability. This system brings superior noise-canceling technology to eliminate rotor wash and engine noise from your ICS. The Axness PNG wireless system is currently deployed in more than 1,800 public safety, air ambulance, and search and rescue aircrafts worldwide. I have personally used the Axness system in 4 different countries and on 5 different airframes. It is awesome. If you want more information, contact them today at axness.com. That's AXNES.com. You just make sure you tell them Quinny sent me. SR3 Rescue Concepts is a training company that can help your helicopter training. They train daytime, nighttime, aerial firefighting, hoist, long line, fast rope, rappel, and more. They can assist your program with standardization and safety checks or just an FAA annual refresher. With the certified flight instructor pilots and experienced crew, they are ready to help your agency keep up to date with current techniques, rules, regulations, and equipment. Plus, right now, SR3 is offering 10% off anything in their web store with the promo code, all capital letters, Real ResQ, REALRESQ. Plus, they are offering another 10% from their partners Petzl and their equipment. All you got to do is send an email to info@sr3rescueconcepts.com. Mention this podcast, the Real ResQ podcast, and they'll take care of the rest. And Versalifts. When you're at the gym working on your squats, building your leg strength for the next rescue mission, depth matters. If you're like me, getting below parallel on your squats is tough. Well, allow me to introduce Versalifts heel inserts. These gems have become one of my new favorite accessories in my gym bag. Simply place them into your regular training shoe, either on top or underneath the insole, and bam! You've got a heel lift benefit of a weightlifting shoe, but the comfort and flexibility of your regular trainers. So the next time your workout just has heavy squats, grab your V2 strength inserts. Or how about a run, pull up, push up, air squat, and another run? Grab your V2 endurance insert. Or my own personal workout of running, clusters, and ring muscle up. Grab your original V2 inserts and go crush it. Check them out today at vlifts.com or on Instagram at Versalift. And when you're ready to get a few pair of your own, make sure you get your 10% off with the Real ResQ discount code. Squat well, friends. So we get to do it again. Another live recording at HAI Heli Expo 2023. The U.S. Coast Guard got a booth together, and I am taking full advantage. So this episode in particular, we get 3 guys that we sit down with, and these 3 guys, United States Coast Guard pilots, and they are the creators of Flight Suit Friday podcast. In this episode, they tell us a couple epic stories, their first rescues, and then one that stands out to them, and then we get to debrief a whole bunch of it. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Please welcome the boys from Flight Suit Friday. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ podcast. All right, hold on. Don't crack it yet.
Don't crack it yet.
We're almost there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real ResQ podcast. Not yet. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are sitting at HAI Heli Expo 2023. We are at the United States Coast Guard booth, booth number 4562, and we are recording live at the show. I've got a couple guys at the Coast Guard now. They are holding and chomping at the bit to crack this can of beer. I get to drink some pilots, officer pilots at that. So let's do it, boys. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, snap.
Man.
Hey, cheers, man.
That's some good coordination.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for your service.
Same to you.
You know, I'm glad I could be part of the Coast Guard with you guys. It's awesome.
Yep.
What are you drinking over there? What do you got?
You know what? I'm not even sure. It's whatever you threw in the can.
We got some local brews here.
That's what I'm talking about. Hold on. I've got a Wild Leap craft beer.
Yeah.
Chance Indian Pale Ale. Ooh.
That's good.
That is good.
Ryan?
You know what's funny about this is like the Hanger Z boys would be so proud. What's the drink of the day? Come on, John.
Yes.
I got the Cloudland Hazy IPA from Steady Hand Beer Company right here in Atlanta.
Yeah, we strolled into that brewery.
Delicious.
It's a good one.
Yeah?
Yeah, we just kind of found it at a whim. It's good.
Very good beer.
Excellent.
We're steamrolling you.
Come on, Nick.
All right, Sweetwater Lager.
Lager?
A little bit on the lighter side, but
Okay.
very tasty.
Bit of lager.
Yeah.
Do you
You're
like
a
an
lager
IPA
guy.
a little bit better?
No, I like lagers.
Yeah, he's a
Okay,
lager
cool.
guy.
Yeah.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. I dig it. Right on. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Real quick, we got to mention this. Like you said, we're at the U.S. Coast Guard booth at HAI Heli Expo 2023. If anybody's interested in joining the Coast Guard or wants more information from the Coast Guard, yes, we do have to throw a little ad in here. You can call the Coast Guard. Is it still 1-800-USCG?
GoCoastGuard.com.
GoCoastGuard.com. Come on, man. It's 2023.
I know, right?
GoCoastGuard.com.
Yeah, or
Pull out the
At
phone.
USCG
At
for
USCG.
Facebook or Instagram.
That's
Yep,
right.
yep.
You know, send them a message, and
Yeah.
and you can get all the information. As a matter of fact, so me and Nick here, I'm going to let you guys introduce him, but we're Coast Guard Rescue Swimmers, or at least I still am.
Yes.
Except for I haven't been in for like 10 years, so. It's right here. It's in my mind. It
You never
leaves.
formally transferred out, though.
I never did,
You know?
dude. It's terrible. So if you guys don't mind, introduce yourself, not a little background, just introduce yourself. Who's here today?
Yeah, Ryan Vanahai, one of the creators, producer for Flight Suit Friday, the Coast Guard's aviation podcast. So been working with Quinny a little bit on putting all this podcast stuff together at HAI. So, man, I appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Oh, it's been fun, man.
Yeah, Sam Hafensteiner. I'm a wannabe podcaster for sure. I have no idea what I'm doing with the show that we got going on, but man, I love it, and I really appreciate what you're doing too, Quinny. This whole genre is really cool to talk about.
That was going to be fun.
Yeah.
Nick Litchfield. I'm a wannabe to the wannabe podcaster.
Nice, dude.
Just
He
get,
is the future of
Yeah,
Flight
man.
Suit Friday.
The next one? Yeah, nice.
absolutely.
You're the new face, dude.
Oh boy.
Sorry,
Dude,
I
you
didn't
look good.
interrupt
The
you.
new mustache.
Yeah, you know what? Best stuff softening up there.
Dude, I know. Hey, you want to know why I'm not drinking IPAs and drinking lagers?
Oh.
IPAs make you thick, bud.
Yeah. Duly noted.
You do have a
Duly
nice
noted.
dump truck, right? Go on. Sorry.
That's awesome. So, yeah, you guys have created the Flight Suit Friday podcast. And actually, Ryan, if you don't mind, how and why did that start?
Sure. Well, I had a long commute in Mobile, and I wanted something to listen to that I actually enjoyed, I like podcasts, and it worked out. COVID, it actually helped in this sense of during COVID, pilots, wardrooms were really struggling with coming together, telling stories. We lost that sitting around the beer campfire mentality of, sitting around telling stories, what happened, lessons learned, what's going on in the fleet, in the wardroom. And we want to bring that to them, bring that to everybody, and really impact the culture of Coast Guard aviation. I tried to compile a team of humble, funny dudes that are just
I like it.
Yeah, they just wanted to tell the stories, right? And we want to reach out, get as many voices as we could in aviation, tell as many stories as we could, hear all the awesome SAR cases, say, oh yeah, that was a dumb pilot moment. Don't do that again, right?
Yeah.
Share this stuff, because that's the culture that we need in aviation, is being humble, being honest, and just telling sweet stories, right?
Yeah, right.
Because that's what everybody wants to hear. And we have a sick fascination with cool SAR cases sometimes, because it's like, man, yeah, that was scary. And then in the back of your head, you're like, oh man, I wonder if I could have done that, right?
Yeah.
I wonder what I would have done if I was in that situation. And I love that feeling that I get when I hear other people tell their stories. And it's so humbling and so inspiring to hear them tell their stories. So,
Man,
that's what we do.
I still remember when he asked me to do the podcast for the first time, and
He
I
said
was
I
like,
was crazy.
it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I wasn't even in front of a microphone yet, and I had butterflies in my stomach. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful for Ryan to have that idea. Ryan's the kind of guy who loves to create ideas, start a program, and then he runs away. And then he just...
Oh, that's hilarious.
And it's usually he transfers, and everybody's like, oh, this is such a good idea, but we don't have, the creative brain that this guy's got to keep it going. But he's transferred, and it's still going. I mean, we're 60 episodes strong, and
That's awesome.
hopefully we've got a few listeners out there, but just getting the stories out there for Coast Guard aviation, I think it's been really fun. And it's, just talking to other people who have similar experiences or completely different experiences, you just learn. You're just always learning, which is great in the aviation community.
Well, it's one of the things that I really like about it, too, because you take a story that you might not hear. And for you guys, specifically in Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard is a small service, but it's a big service. And a lot of guys in Kodiak, Alaska, do not hear about the story that happened in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
Or Cape Cod, Massachusetts, did not hear what happened in San Francisco, California.
Yeah.
It doesn't cross-pollinate very well unless it's like some dramatic, huge case, and you're like, wow, So I like the fact that you guys are doing this and helping the community inside the Coast Guard, standards and stories and lessons learned. I think this is an awesome way to do it. It's one of the things that I really enjoy about this podcast, the Real ResQ podcast, and what I'm doing. So
it also gives us an opportunity to talk shit about the fixed wing community too, which is always fun as a rotorhead. Always fun.
Maybe the 60 community too.
And the
from time
60,
to time.
definitely the 60 community.
I'm not saying a word, dude.
You were 65 and 60 or just 60s?
I did them both.
Yeah,
Okay,
both.
cool.
All right.
And right now I've flown 11 different aircrafts on 7 different countries.
So
Okay,
you
yeah.
had a favorite.
Yeah, which was the favorite?
We know that you had a favorite.
I'm sorry, I'm drinking beer. I'm drinking beer.
Come on, 65.
You know what? I love
man.
the 60, man. I won't lie to you guys. The 60, there's something about the 60. I just absolutely love it. Now, it's kind of funny because Dan, oh my gosh, I just forgot his last name. That's terrible. Dan, I'm sorry. But anyway, so he said to me, my man Rich James right here, rescue swimmer, walking by. Look at this. I love this recording at the HAI. Rich, get out of here. Get out of here. I'm recording. Get. So you could have been here, but you're not. Get out. Anyway, so Dan had said to me, it's easy to use SAR in a capable aircraft. That's the A60. Try doing it in a 65 where you got to numbers are fudged and not fudged, sorry. Numbers are
not confirm or deny.
pushing the limits, all right?
Yeah.
And you know what? I did a lot of hours on the 65. I went out, I had an over torque, which seems to happen quite often, or torque split, maybe, I don't know. I know that we were going out to approach the vessel that was taking on water, and all of a sudden we were going home. And I was like, well, that was... Yeah, over torque.
Yeah.
Sound like an over torque?
That sounds like an over torque.
No, we
Absolutely.
landed, we switched aircraft, and went back out.
Yeah. Certainly an unfortunate time to get an over torque too.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, dude, we're about to get into it. Everybody's
totally.
ready.
Yeah, adrenaline's pumping, and we're going away.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what? And I will. No, I'll leave that case there because there's kind of, there might be some lessons learned on that, but let's come back to that one.
Okay.
So, Nick, now for you coming on to this is a very unique experience for you and I because you're a rescue swimmer first and now you transitioned pilot.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how is this mixed in with you? How are you digging it?
This has been great. It's a great transition. I miss being a rescue swimmer. I miss being in the AST shop. I miss working out every day for 2 hours.
Right.
I miss playing sports. I miss social hour. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that I miss about it.
See these guns right here?
Dude,
I
don't
checked
put
these
those
in.
away.
I'm
man.
sorry.
Put those away.
Nick was showing his. I'm just kidding. Whoa.
Okay.
Easy.
I got little 22s over here, man. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about these things. They're concealed too. But dude, it's been a good transition, and I really like doing what I'm doing now. I like being an aircraft commander. I like having a crew. You know what I mean? And I like driving the train sometimes too. You know what I mean? It's fun. It's cool. I asked for more responsibility around my 10-year mark. You know, in the Coast Guard, I was either going to get out of the Coast Guard and look for a different opportunity, or I was going to get some more responsibility in the Coast Guard. And I got what I asked for, man.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard the saying, like, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah. You better be careful. Next thing you know,
you might just get it.
You know what the best part is, man? I was like, I think I want to be a pilot. And guess what I get to do? I get to be a morale officer.
Yeah.
A urinalysis officer. Yeah. Basically the P-boss, right?
Yeah.
All these fun little jobs that I never even thought about.
Still get to fly, though.
I still get to fly. Yeah.
That's pretty badass, man. I like it.
And Jason, I know we're going to get into the stories, but I just want to give these guys a shout out too, because like the Flight Suit Friday podcast, we do it all on our own time. Right? It's all about our passion and our drive to get better and to improve Coast Guard aviation. Like innately, we just want that, right? And I mean, it was 2 a.m. last night, and we were recording a podcast because we wanted to, because we started a conversation about safety, and we just turned the mics on because we're like so passionate about this.
Yeah.
And we want so badly to make ourselves better, to make the community better, that we just dive into it. And so the level of effort that the team puts forward to make this podcast a thing, it is not something that comes easy. We play it off as easy, shooting the shit, like drinking beer, right? But we put so much effort into it because we have such a desire to make something of this show and to make something of the community, and that's all these guys.
That's
right?
awesome.
Now, if you saw Kenny and I scrambling before we record for 3 minutes, where we're like, who are we talking to? Like, what are the questions? Like, how are we going to do this episode real quick? Dude, are you ready to go? Yeah, okay, here's the start music. Ready to begin?
Yeah.
Bro,
that's how we do it, man.
That's kind of funny. Yeah. I can't do that because I'm usually reading like an award, and if I don't practice the award, that's terrible. Yes, it sounds terrible.
I send these guys the award, the air medal write-up, and they'll read the header or their first line and then shut the laptop and just go.
Rookie move. You got to read the whole thing.
Just crazy.
Oh, you never gave us any awards to read, dude. No, we do. Actually, that's one of my favorite parts about our podcast is, and I wish people would give us more of these, but we routinely send out emails to people in the fleet like, hey, give us some shout-outs because we'd love to just rep whatever cool SAR case that you just had. And, like every once in a while we'll get a good email and it'll dive into just, we can highlight somebody, or we get an email. It's like, wow, that is an exceptional case. Like, hey, do you guys want to chit chat about it? So the more word we can get out to the coasties out there for us to just support you, like we love doing that.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely love doing that.
Oh, you can send them to me too. I would love to have them on this show.
Yeah, you bet, man.
Real ResQ is like, it's not just a metaphor, it's real.
It's real. Yep, it's real.
Man, I like it. I like it. Well, speaking of rescues, let's hear a couple of you guys. Now, you guys are still in the Coast Guard. All right, so here's what I'd love to hear. I'd like to hear each one of your very first rescue that you remember,
okay.
and or, no, just your first one. What was your first one? Ryan, let's start with you.
First one, well, the first time the SAR alarm went off, I was real gung-ho and ran into the locker to put on my dry suit and tripped and fell putting my dry suit on because I was so excited. I was like, this is it, man. This is my time to shine. We have a missing kayaker. I'm gone. So I'm sprinting to the locker, getting the dry suit on, trip and fall. Finally get the thing on. It's backwards. Got to take it off again. So finally get the dry suit on the right way. And I walk out of the locker room and go straight to the command center because in Humboldt, co-located sector, right? That's where we would meet up as a crew right in front of the command center door. I get there. The entire crew's there, dressed out, ready to go. And the aircraft commander's like, man, where you been? We got stood down like 5 minutes ago.
Busy rolling around on the floor.
Alarm, right? I was just like rolling around the floor in the locker and just totally lost. Yeah, because like that was the
Good first SAR case right
yeah,
there.
that was my
Yeah.
first SAR case.
Yeah.
You know, just totally killing
You know,
it.
it kind of counts. I'm going to count it, but I was hoping that you'd actually go do something, not stand
Okay.
down. By the way, we get stood down a lot. So,
so
you know.
much. Yeah. No, my first SAR case, first actual SAR case was in a couple months out of T course, and
What
it
is
was,
T course? Sorry.
the transition course so after Navy flight school, you go to Mobile for a couple months and learn how to fly the 65.
Got it. And that's known as the T course.
Yep. You
Cool.
are.
Yep.
Remember,
now
I-
the designation course.
Oh,
course.
got it. Sure, you got to remember,
sorry.
I am not a pilot. Not a pilot.
Ex-ATC guy.
Swimmer.
Yeah.
I got to make sure I know all these abbreviations.
Yeah, so you're just baby pilot, right? 400-500 hours. You don't really have a lot of experience at that point. And it was one of those days, it was a weekend duty, beautiful sunny day. It's just nothing can go wrong. You're just out playing Frisbee golf, you know. There's no fog anywhere, clear blue skies. And we got the alarm went off for a 16-year-old boy had his chest crushed by a log. So he had just got hit by one of the logs that just floats in the Pacific.
Oh, man.
Because they were out wade fishing or something. And so we run out there. We're headed on scene, and this SAR case actually kind of like messed with me a little bit initially because I had done the weight calculations wrong in the aircraft initially, and so we waited on deck for a couple minutes to burn down before we realized I was wrong. We actually could have taken off, and so like time's of the essence, right? And you're just freaking out. It was just one of those things. New guy just makes an error, right? And then we get on scene. We quickly roll in. CAL FIRE was there on scene already, but they didn't have a medic or litter or anything because they were on a like base training like pattern beater flight. So they took off from the beach. We rolled around, barely finished the landing checks, definitely assessed that landing zone. Thankfully, I was with a very experienced pilot, put it down beautifully on the beach, and then I had to jump out as the co-pilot and go run 50 yards down the beach and help with the litter and help load the guy so that the flight mech could get the cabin ready. So I ran out with the swimmer to go help him out, and he had loaded the guy in the litter, and then I helped carry it back to the helo, run back around, jump in, and then we were off and landed at the hospital like in crazy amount of time. Like once we actually got off deck, we got the kid to the hospital really as fast as we possibly could have. Minimal time, super experienced AC running the show, landed at the hospital pad. They run, get the guy out into the hospital, and we gave him like the very best chance that we could have at making it, but he was beat up pretty bad.
Dang.
And it unfortunately didn't work out. And it was one of those cases that just kind of like, unfortunately, not everything works out the way you want it to.
Right, totally.
But that was the reason I told that one instead of one of my more successful like first SAR cases, is just because that just gave me the lesson of like, one, really stay in the books because you want to be able to perform when it matters.
Right.
And keep a level head because that will help you perform when it matters.
Right.
And then also to don't be afraid to get help afterwards, because that was a gnarly first case for me, right?
Yeah.
Like seeing a 16-year-old kid that was really messed up on the beach, helping out, working through some of the like mistakes that I had made, realizing that really wouldn't have done anything anyway because CAL FIRE was in the way at the time and would have had to back out. So it all worked out, but it just highlighted to me of train hard so that you can perform when it matters, and then don't be afraid to get help afterwards if you need it, you know? So those were the really big lessons that I took away from that case.
Nice, man. Dang.
Sorry to start it off with a bummer.
No,
dude.
you know what?
That's kind of how my career started off,
Hey.
with a bummer, you know? That's
Well,
tough.
you said,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bummer for sure, but like you did what you could.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
having the Coast Guard go out and do that mission is a tough one, but like we got to do it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
In
And
fact,
we
the
gave
matters-
him every effort we could have.
Yeah.
We never know what we're going to get launched out for.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us stand duty, and all of us are capable of doing it. And I say it on this podcast constantly. We are all very capable and on duty. And when the alarm goes off, we're going to go do the job.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is,
Nope.
because we never know.
Exactly.
No, we did not.
And even when you think you know, you don't know.
It's
always wrong.
Yeah.
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 100%.
What was that change? Yeah.
Yeah. Dang,
All right.
dude. I've heard
What
that
do you
one
got?
before. What do I got? Oh, so I was looking at my list. This is something that.
Oh, you got a list.
Well,
oh, come on, Sam.
No, this is a thing I started doing like when I had my first rescue was I'd throw it in my phone and I'd write down like who it was, what it was, just like a couple notes about it.
Ooh,
so
I
that
like
That's
that.
smart.
you know, when I'm like 60 and I was like, oh, I remember that time, and oh shoot, like that was
He's
pretty
going to
fun
be that
night.
guy when he's 60.
Yep.
You know
Yeah,
what?
No,
I'll
but
tell you
honestly,
what.
I kind of like
It's
it.
awesome.
So.
I love it.
Your
I love
your
it.
grandkids are gonna love that. They're
I
gonna
think
be
they
like,
will.
Grandpa, can you tell me that story about that one
Dude.
time you
Yeah.
saved that guy off that boat?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, let me break
No,
up my
that is
brain
so
real quick.
funny.
That is
As
a
long
really,
as-
we're just jealous. That's
As
why
long
we're
as
making
Google
fun of you.
Docs doesn't disappear.
Dude, why
but
is Sam so smart? And always on top of
Oh.
everything.
Man, I can't tell you how many things I've just stolen from Sam.
Yeah, so I have a similar experience to Ryan putting on his dry suit backwards and falling over in the locker room, but like, so
What is it with you pilots?
dude,
God.
I
So
think
dumb.
it's, you know what it is it's the that first rescue, like you are so new, you're like, and you're so excited, and you just want to get out there and get it done. So I was with this guy Blake McKinney, I think he just recently retired, in San Francisco, first live hoist. I was sitting left seat, so I didn't do any of the hoisting, but Blake, third tour pilot, probably 3,500 hours, as experienced as you can get, like flew 12 straight years in the 65. And so alarm goes off. He has me run out there. I try to start some of it up from the left seat. I don't get very far. He jumps in, and I swear to God, I didn't know where we were until we were in a hover in the Napa, over the Napa River, like getting ready to hoist. Like it,
Wow.
it was so quick. Like he was really quick because he's really experienced.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to like get my bearings.
You were hanging on to the tail
I was
section. weren't
hanging
you,
on to
bud?
the
Hanging on to
fenestron,
the
man.
fenestron.
I was hanging on the fenestron, dude. Yeah, but it was a great case. We ended up taking Eli Bell was our rescue swimmer, and Misha Vargas was our flight mech. Two kayakers got stranded on, like, I think the tide went out or whatever, and it was cold, so we went and picked them up. But that was my first ever case that I did. That I remember it being just so. I'm trying to think. Like it was just so crazy that I had just gotten out of T-course. I was in the seat, and we were all of a sudden hoisting, and I was just like, "Holy shit! Like what's happening right now?"
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. It was good. Yeah.
Oh boy, that escalated quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm actually doing this job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Where were you stationed at? San Fran?
Yeah, I was in San Francisco.
Right on.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I had a couple chances to do some live hoists, and I can tell you about those. But Nick's got way better stories than I
I will
do,
say
man.
real quick, you've told me that story before, and it's actually changed my mentality as now one of the more senior guys at a SAR unit. It's changed my mentality of like, don't forget that this person might not be where you're at in your SA mental model.
Yeah.
Right? And that is a lesson that I've tried to take with me, and it's because of that story that you've told me before.
Yeah.
Has changed my mindset. going
That's a
on
good
SAR
point.
cases.
Sometimes head nods don't always mean I understand either.
No.
That might
yeah.
be like,
hey,
yeah,
you see
I'm
you
tracking.
see the airport right now? Yep. You
Yep.
don't
Yeah,
know.
No, you don't.
No, you're
No,
telling me
you
what
do
I want to
not.
hear right now. Huh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I do distinctly remember my first live hoist though. That was off of the Channel Islands. We had a dive patient who ended up having a stroke when he was down underwater, and so I had just been recently right seat skills qualified. I wasn't nighttime qualified yet, and we went out at sunset. And Bruce Kimmel was the other pilot. He let me sit right seat. So excited. Dave Munns and Danny Gomez on that one. And it was a pretty seamless one. Like, we got out, pretty big boat, and they got underway the exact direction we wanted to, and picked him up, got him to the hospital. All good. The nice part about that one was his daughter was a firefighter in Berkeley, and there was a retired rescue swimmer who worked for the Berkeley Fire Department. So we actually got some closure, and because we got
Wow.
that guy to the hospital in time, he actually made it. So
That's cool.
within a 10-minute
awesome.
window of when he wouldn't have been.
I feel like
doing
that's
so
something
hot.
that we don't do very, very well. And of course, there's HIPAA and all that stuff. But following up with some of the survivors or
Dude.
the folks from medevacs that we drop off at hospitals, like it requires the individual to like put some effort into it. You know, the crew to basically
yeah.
like follow up, be like, hey man, what was the outcome with this person? But it is rewarding when you go to the hospital and visit that person and bring them like a station patch or something.
Dude,
it's
sick.
cool.
Yeah.
It's
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
I actually, I'm going to jump on board with that because, you know, it's not something I even thought about in the Coast Guard. And we've talked about this on this podcast too, is you go save somebody, and then the first thing we go back, fuel the aircraft, maybe wash it,
Oh yeah.
through flight it, post flight it, put it away.
Yep.
Now we're back in the lounge, chilling, watching TV.
Yep.
Good outcome, bad outcome, it didn't matter. We're back in the lounge, waiting for the next call.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it wasn't until I became a civilian and I started flying civilian side, and I started working with medics, and they're like, "Oh, let's follow up." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, you can do that? Like, I can call a hospital and find out how they're doing." They're like, "Well, yeah." I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
Yeah. Closure.
yeah,
It's interesting.
Closure.
yeah.
You're like, okay, what was the outcome?
Right.
You know, I don't know.
No, there is something to be said about it. And for everybody out there that doesn't know that, you can call the hospital, tell them, you know, you're not asking for personal information. You're saying, "Hey, I am X agency," and I have to use X because I'm talking to all agencies out there. "Hey, we just dropped off a patient. We're just looking for follow-up. Are they okay? Did everything work out? You know, and go from there." So,
Yep.
and since then, I try to. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, Nick, you're up.
Okay, first star case.
Just blow us out.
Now wait a minute, is this
Oh, yeah.
Blow
swimmer
us out
first
of the
star case,
water.
or is this?
Yeah, I'd like to. You know, actually,
He's way
probably all
cooler
the
than
stories
us.
are mostly swimmer stories.
Look at this guy.
A lot of fun, man.
Why do I get
a lot of good experience?
man?
Yeah, good to sit next to this guy.
Can't even compete with the mustache either.
You know, the first one was a little bit sad, but it was Winter Air Station Cape Cod. Shout out, awesome
Nice.
air station. They're doing good work up there right now.
Oh yeah.
Follow them on Instagram and everything, dude. They're just crushing it. But we got launched in the middle of the night, fishing vessel Patriot, and it was for a possible boat that had a smoke or fire alarm, and that's basically all the information that we had. So we go up there, Gloucester. It's always Gloucester, Massachusetts.
It's
Gloucester,
you know?
Gloucester.
Yeah.
It's not. It's Gloucester.
Gloucester.
Okay, it's not Gloucester. It's Gloucester.
Are
Gloucester.
you from
Gloucester.
Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am.
Yeah,
I'm
that-
wicked smart.
That
too.
came out real good.
All
Yeah.
right. We go to the Park Bar. We go to the Sox game. Come
Oh,
on.
we gotta go to the Sox game.
Gotta go to Sox game.
Yeah, man.
Go on.
Yeah.
Gloucester. You're up at Gloucester.
That was a
Gloucester,
culture. That was a culture shift for me too, because I'm from sunny San Diego, and they're like Air Station
You're
Cape
like
Cod. And
everything.
I'm like,
Like, it's
wow,
awesome.
dude.
What's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
Gloucester?
Gloucester, Worcester, Worcester. That's, you know, Worcester.
Worcester.
Yeah, okay,
Worcester,
sorry.
dude.
Gloucester.
But yeah, we fly up to Massachusetts. I'm sorry, Gloucester.
Gloucester.
And yeah, basically we're searching for the boat, and we don't see anything. And we search and we search and we search. Very, very cold out. Finally, we find like a debris trail, and one of the other boats up there, I think it was an 87-foot launch there, small boat. They found an individual fishing slicks, face down,
Ugh.
not alive. And then we continued to search, and we found the second individual and relocated them back to land. Not a good outcome. It was sad. We ended up flying 6.9 total flight hours.
Dang.
I was
Wow.
very, very tired.
That's
but
a lot, by the way. 6.9.
Yeah.
recovering the individuals, bringing them back to land was a little bit of closure, but nobody was pleased with the outcome. You know what I mean? It's just under those conditions, Massachusetts, winter time,
Cold.
very cold winter. Yeah, very sad.
And you know what? Massachusetts is like a weird cold too, because it's a weird cold. You get bone chilling cold.
Oh, dude, I've never been so cold. I used to come back from swimmer flights, and great shop, by the way. But you remember those big spill kits, the big white containers full
Yeah.
of pig mats?
Yeah.
So we converted that into like basically a jacuzzi. and in Cape Cod, the wash rack was inside the hangar with the hot water and everything. So we wheel over the wash hose, fill up the big old bucket, and the guys would have it ready for you when you got back from your trainer or SAR case.
Oh, that's
Dude,
awesome.
you go straight from the helicopter. I wouldn't even, I felt like I was walking on bones. My feet were so cold. And you go jump right into that tub, man, and get all that salt water off and just kind of defrost. Oh, so nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a real
Dang.
swimmer solution right there.
Oh,
It
dude,
totally
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know what? Just a real quick interjection. One of my favorite parts about you guys is we go out, we do an amazing rescue, we get back, you guys just walk away. You're just like living in the glory, and you go
yes.
back.
You know, that's the,
you go
that's
jump
the,
in the
that's
hot
such a
tub.
pilot
We're sitting there
response.
You go
resetting our
jump in
missile
the hot tub,
password.
That's
dude.
such a pilot
Hey guys,
response.
if you need me, I'm
Yeah.
going to be playing Xbox in the lounge.
You
eating
know
my
what,
dinner.
dude? The
I'm
pilot-
busy like
they have no
typing
idea.
away like the case report, blah blah blah.
No way, man.
dude.
We're turning around the basket.
Right.
We're
No, you
turning
guys-
around the quick strop. We're repacking the EMT
All
kits.
of our gear
Yeah,
that
dude.
nobody else wants to help with.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
We're press and play on whatever show we left off on.
Dude,
You know what I
just
mean?
wipe your hands, walk away.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we're
keep
getting the
going.
massage
Keep
chair
going.
warmed up.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
I love it.
That's all
you know
I have.
what? Don't forget when the press shows up. We want to talk to the swimmer.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
I am sorry that it was not a great outcome, but man, good job.
Yeah.
For you and your crew and stuff.
Yeah.
I get it. All right, so now let's go on to another one, which is just kind of a memorable case, something that you guys have done that stands out to you. Ryan, how long have you been in the Coast Guard?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Nice.
So-
Okay. So you got a memorable one?
Yeah.
One that might stand out?
Oh, definitely.
All right, hold that thought.
Yeah.
Sam, how long you been in?
14.
14. So you're, right on.
Yep.
And Nick?
16 years.
16. Yeah. So you guys got, you guys are in that weird stage, like you're experienced, but you're not at like the sage part of the end of your career where you've got, you've seen everything that the Coast Guard could throw at you. You're at the same time, you're still there learning.
Yeah,
which
we're
is
all
awesome.
second tour pilots too. So you obviously have the most aviation experience out of all of us, but
Dude,
flying-wise.
I learn something new every single time I strap into that aircraft.
Perfect.
And
If you're not, you're not.
gosh,
trying.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, dude, am I getting this? And I'm not doubting myself, my capabilities or anything. It's just like one of those things. It's like, dude,
That was good.
that was a good crack.
That was a good crack.
I might need one of those pretty
So
soon
you
here.
just call me up, dude. Gotcha.
Thanks, bud. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
dude, always learning and fessing up to mistakes and talking about it, in the wardroom or in the swimmer shop or on the podcast. You know what I mean?
Love it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Right on. So 10, 14, 16 years in the Guard.
Boom.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. Ryan, memorable case. Like what's a case that stands out to you?
Oh man, got a couple of them, but
We can come back and get a whole bunch later,
Yeah.
but let's just get...
Yeah. I'll give one good one.
Let me tell you my life
Well, I had
story.
one recently. So my wife is an investigator,
Okay.
right? And so when like marine casualties, like a boat sinks or something like that, they'll investigate to make sure, like the NTSB of the Coast Guard, right?
Sure.
I went on a case recently that her shop actually investigated that case, so I had to get interviewed for it and all that stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
And so it was hilarious, but they're like, "Are you sure that's what happened?" And I was like, "Yeah, because I distinctly remember taking a moment to start teaching on the SAR case because I had a junior co-pilot. So we talked about the dynamics of it, and because I can't help myself."
Oh, we get the bagpipes
Oh,
playing
yeah.
again.
Oh,
Dude, this
yeah.
is awesome.
I love it.
This happened yesterday with Joey.
Should we pause?
Absolutely not. We're going to
No,
roll
you
right through it.
gotta keep rolling,
Dude,
dude.
keep rolling.
I love it.
It's in
So
the background.
That was
This is the
just
greatest
funny.
part about live,
Yep.
recording.
Yep.
You just take it and run with it.
Yeah.
That dude looks cool right now.
He's
doesn't
killing
he?
it.
Yeah. He's taking over.
Yep.
That's gonna be Sam.
He's got
in
a cooler
20
shark
years.
case story
That's
than
me,
all of
Sam,
us.
while he temp-steps.
He's gonna go to.
Definitely
Yeah,
bagpipe
man.
guy.
Oh, dude,
No,
I
I'll
love
tell
it.
a different
Anyway.
story, but that one was just funny because it was it highlighted that I just can't help myself to teach sometimes, and the whole wardroom made fun of me for that one.
That's
of
hilarious.
like, you're in the middle of a SAR case and you're teaching because things change and we're just kind of floating around.
Right.
But no, my memorable SAR case, I was going out with my buddy Alex Lloyd. He had been an aircraft commander for less than a month, and I was a senior co-pilot, and so pretty junior crew. Going out, flight mech that had not had a live hoist yet, but it was his second tour, so he was pretty experienced. Or he had very few live hoists, and we get a report of 3 teenagers that are stranded in Swiftwater.
Oh, snap.
So we
Okay.
roll out in the Smith River, kind of the north. It's the North Smith River, so it forks the north and the south, up by Crescent City in California.
Yep.
It's maybe like 20, 30 miles, maybe like 15 to 20 miles east of Crescent City, maybe not that far. So we roll up on scene, and these 3 kids had gone rafting, no life jackets or anything, and gotten stranded in the rapids, but they were on the wrong side of the Swiftwater. So the way the topography was, there's a road on the south side of the river, nothing but forest and woods and everything on the north side of the river, and they were on the north side, kind of stuck there, right?
Yeah.
So a
Middle
rope.
of summer, by the way? Was it summer
May.
or winter?
It was
May.
May.
Okay.
Yeah.
So springtime. Okay.
Springtime, but it's
Well done.
evening springtime, so it's getting dark, right?
Okay.
We're coming up on sunset, maybe around 6 o'clock at night, and we roll up on scene, and there's a ropes team. They had gotten somebody across with a fire department with a ropes team, and we were talking about that to them, and they're like, "These guys don't have life jackets. We're a little bit afraid. We think we can do this safely. because we trained for this, but we think you might be the best asset if you can hoist them because something could go wrong in the transition, and then we got a kid without a life jacket going down the swift water, right? And so we decided that, yeah, that makes sense, because I always preach in my duty days of take ego out of the cockpit in the aircraft, of receive feedback and give feedback, but also take ego out of the SAR case. Let everyone else do the job safely first, and you jump in if you're the last resort. So we kind of come to the conclusion, yeah, we're it. So we do a few more laps to get lighter so that we can feel comfortable. It's a very tight hoisting area. We probably have like maybe 3 or 4, probably about 4 rotor discs across this river. So we're really coming into a pretty confined river valley to set up in a 200-foot hover over the river because because of the obstacles and the trees overhanging and everything like that. And we came up with the plan that we're gonna park in this hover, we're gonna lower the swimmer, pick them up, left slide across down to the other bank, and just drop them. So it's just a quick pivot across, right? That's
real quick. Were you going to bring in the survivor all the way up to the aircraft? So just short haul, leave them just all down by the water.
I'm going to predicate all of this. Okay. Very junior crew. I wish I had known then what I know now. And I teach.
Don't we all?
I teach so much of this.
You know what you didn't know. Yeah. SR3 Rescue Concepts. I'm dropping that little
yeah. So, I mean, at this point in my career, AHAR's instructor, writing the TTP, we talk about spins, pendulums, how to mitigate, how to prevent, power management, all of this stuff that absolutely would have been applicable in this moment. Probably would have brought them all the way up, right? And then slid over, dropped them out.
I like where you're going with the quick.
I'll show you why it went wrong in this instance. Okay. Just to preview it a little bit. So swimmer goes down. They come up a little bit. We start the left side slide. Halfway across the river, again, we've got like 4 rotor discs worth of space. So we're not moving that far, right? Yep. Just enough halfway through. The pilot at the controls, Alex Lloyd, who's one of the best sticks I've ever flown with, by the way. Oh shit, I can't see. You have the controls. The sun had glared the entire windscreen and blinded him immediately.
Oh my gosh, man.
And so his comment was, oh shit, I can't see. You have the controls. In the middle of a confined area with a 200-foot live body on the bottom of the hoist. And so I had to take the controls instantaneously, stabilize the aircraft, and hold where we were. And I had been looking at the back left because we were trying to avoid a tree, and in the transition over that it was overhanging. So I had to flip my scan around to the front of the aircraft, take the controls, and stabilize the aircraft in that moment.
Was this something that you thought could possibly happen, or was it just totally unexpected?
I was unexpected and unprepared. I mean, I had my hands near the controls, right? Because that's what I had been taught to do. But emotionally, I was not prepared. I mean, it's an eye-opening experience, and I teach that now all the time. Always be ready to take the controls, right? Spatial D can happen in an instance, and you'll never know why or when it happens. You just have to be ready for it. For the other pilot, because we do demanding stuff.
Dude, I need to start training that, man. Like, you just brought up a really good point. Like, that is, you're in the hoisting environment. Like, you got somebody, like, and don't even let them know it's coming. Just say your controls, something messed up. Like, simulated after that, probably. But, you know.
And so in this situation, we induced a pretty big pendulum, right? Because I didn't continue the slide. I abruptly stopped it, which induces a pendulum. We didn't know techniques to get rid of it. A transition forward, a power pull, a slide in the direction of the swing. We honestly made it worse because we brought the person up, right? Which will increase the pendulum swing. And so we brought them all the way up to the aircraft. We were able to, the flight mech muscled it out of the cable, basically. And the other pilot was able to take controls because the blooming out was gone at that point, because it had just been like instantaneous of where the sun was and the trees and the glare and everything. I was able to slide into a position that he could see. So we got that survivor into the aircraft, and we're like, shit.
Now what?
We just briefed for 30 minutes as to how to save these guys, and now we got to change it. So there was a parking lot, like a gravel parking lot by the road. We flipped her back around, and we're like, okay, that gravel parking lot, let's put this survivor down into there.
So you're going to land?
No, we talked about it. We're like, should we land or should we high hoist? Well, we asked the ground party, what's it look like down there? And it's a lot of loose gravel, man. So, okay, high hoist, stay above it, put them down, and then just drop that survivor down, because we didn't think that we had enough power or weight to pick all 3 survivors up and then go to the airport. So we're like, we have to at least get one person out of the aircraft.
Yeah.
So high hover, a lot of dirt kicking up and a lot of references starting to get lost, but Alex stayed just above all of it. Finish that hoist, put the survivor down, pick the basket back up, then we flip back around to go pick up the last 2 survivors. High hoist again. This time it's stay in one spot, down and up, which, being a good stick, Alex just held it like a vert surface, right, straight down, straight up, grab them, and then at that point we went back to Crescent City to drop them off at the airport. But it was just one of those SAR cases that, one, shit happens real fast, and you got to be ready for it.
Yep.
And I look back on that case a lot, because there are so many things that I think that I've learned in my career and that I want to embody into the fleet and train. And that was one of the driving factors for why I want to be a part of the TTP for you guys. Like
TTP?
The Search and Rescue, the SAR Tactics, Techniques, and Procedures Manual.
Cool.
It is not a Bible, but all of the old adages that you've ever heard in your career of, this is how I did this that one time. Or, hey, have you ever thought about doing this?
Finally wrote it down.
It's the art of SAR.
The art of SAR
is what it is, right?
Holy cow.
It's not a manual, but it's hey, if you're ever in a bind, maybe try this. It's just adding to the toolbox. And I've been pretty passionate about trying to add a lot of things to the toolbox, because the more you know and the more you educate yourself, the more you can think outside the box, the more you can pivot your plan. And I mean, we would have done so many things different, I think, on that case.
Yeah.
And I did also, there was a captain that I had one time that's like, hey, if you ever show up on scene, you're the Coast Guard and tell them what you need. We had a guy take a t-shirt out of the trunk of his car, hold it up while standing on his police cruiser to tell us where the wind was.
That's
because
awesome.
we couldn't figure out which direction the wind was going down the valley.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
Right?
Oh,
and so,
my God.
like, you're the Coast Guard. Figure it out. Tell them what you need, and let smart people figure it out, because we're all on the same team, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And like little
that.
lessons of like, hey, the wind's going to shift after sunset. We didn't know that. If we had stayed there any longer, we probably would have been hoisting with the tailwind and could have got hosed again.
Wow.
On that one, right? So
I got 2 questions about that.
Uh-oh.
And the first
Been
one,
talking
no,
a lot, I'm
you're
sorry.
good, you're good. So my first question, you made a comment about just, you want everybody else to do their thing first, to let other rescuers get in there.
yeah,
I may argue with you on that
hit
one.
me, please. I love this.
And that was, so you're in a helicopter.
Yes.
Like the amount of time it sets up rope, rescue,
Yep.
and get people across, you could have it done in 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
And I'm not just, I'll use that scenario, but I'll use other scenarios of like that, where you have guys that are hiking in 6-7 hours to pull people out. Call a helicopter.
Yeah.
Go get them. Now, at the same time, there's risk versus gain, but the way the safety aspect of flying and hoisting, it's not as dangerous as everybody's like, oh my God, you're hoisting out of a helicopter. Yeah. But we train for that.
Yep.
It's what we do.
Absolutely.
So there is that side of that.
I love
The argument side of it is, why am I going to wait for everybody else to not be able to do the job when I can get it done in 10 minutes?
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right.
So,
I think the biggest reason that I like to talk about that is sometimes we want to get in the fight because we want to get in the fight.
That
I've
is
seen mostly what I try to. That's the reason behind why I say what I say.
Okay.
Is not necessarily like, just let them figure it out, right? It's don't jump into the fight because you just want to be in the fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't hoist when you can land.
Yeah. Don't hoist when you can land. Don't
hoist when there's a boat right next door that says, hey, I can.
Exactly.
Don't pick that back injury patient up when you don't have a litter, when there's a boat that's 3 minutes away that can come grab them.
Agree.
Right. Yeah. So I love your counter, because that is what I talk. That is what I mean by what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig that. The other one, okay, so now let's talk we're going to call it a bit of an emergency procedure.
Yeah.
Your pilot lost visual reference because of the glare, right?
Yeah.
Again, I emphasize, I am not a pilot, but I've flown with you guys enough. I have enough hours in an aircraft that I listen to you guys a lot. So first question, it's going to be, what is your procedure now should that happen? Number 2 is, would there have been a possibility of him? He gets the glare. Go back to where you came from, where the last place you could see. So if you're moving from right to left to go to back to land, stop and move back to the right and just announce that, hey, I lost visual. I got to go back to the right. Instead of, hey, you have the controls. Because what if you can't see?
Yes.
So now you've put the aircraft and the crew in a really bad spot because he's tried to just let go,
Yeah,
so,
and I think that's one of those scenarios that it's a junior aircraft commander in a stressful situation and in a situation they've never been in before, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly losing all visual reference is terrifying as a pilot, especially because
Not a good day.
in that environment, we teach to use 98% external references for that type of hover because it's so much better and more stable even than the computer controlled hovered
In that model
aircraft especially, right? And in the Echo, I would argue as well, of a lot of times with the vert surface too, like
I don't know. I think sometimes this is.
I think we oversell it a little bit.
I think we don't use the modes enough.
I agree.
And they're helpful.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that I would have argued using the modes initially in that to stabilize us. But I do think that like in certain areas a visual scan can be better.
Yeah.
I think the Echo is significantly better than the Delta for sure. In that
the
phase.
current H65 model Echo.
But for very minute and finite hoisting, a visual scan can beat the computer controlled.
Yeah. Well, again, what's your procedure now? Sorry.
Yeah, procedure now is one, slow down. You're fine. You're in a stable profile of, hey, I lost visual reference. Can you see? And then transition to an interior scan with the crosshairs. I call it fly the video game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Stabilize the crosshairs on 0. You're not going anywhere.
Love
I can
it.
do this.
And I actually know what that means.
Yeah.
And again, not a pilot,
Yeah.
but I know what that means.
I can do this at least initially, right? At least initially of treat it like a night swimmer where you can't see crap anyway. But we're dual piloted, and we are dual piloted in this organization for a reason. Try to pass the controls.
Yeah. But be patient.
Be patient in the pass.
Totally.
Because we're clearing things. The back left of the corner of the helicopter is the blind spot. The co-pilot is head over the shoulder, wrenched around, trying to look back there.
Right.
And so have patience in that. And that's recognizing the situation you're in order to have that patience. So that would be where I would go with that as far as procedure-wise.
Nice.
And it's honestly, in that moment, it's a junior crew.
Yeah.
And it's a scary situation.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden, we can say it now sitting over beers and stuff like that, but you put yourself in that situation and
it's
your
going
brain
to
melts.
Yeah, and that's going to happen. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere, and everybody's got to learn.
Yeah.
Now,
and he's one of the best pilots I know, too. And if it can happen to him, it will happen to someone else.
Well, and the other thing, so one of the things that I train right now, especially for lost reference stuff for pilots, is you came from a clear area.
Yes.
If whether you're moving forward, right, forward, left or right, you came from a clear area. So if at one point or another you lose your reference, go back to where you came from because it was clear.
Yes.
Regain your reference. Again, everything needs to be talked about amongst the aircraft.
Yeah.
That's hoist operator, that's pilots. Just brief, talk, so everybody's on the same page.
The only downside to that is if you no longer know where here is.
Yeah.
Agreed. And that's where we could talk about, again, airframe dependent, some aircraft.
Totally.
But for me, it's making abrupt movement with the aircraft. Hey, I've lost visual reference. Roger, I am now ready for you to either make an abrupt aircraft movement back to an area where you can see or fly away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Fly
clear.
away.
You can see it in front of you.
Yeah.
And and again, there's all these, well, what if there's a basket on deck? What if there's a person on deck? Okay. Use that scenario. You can shear, you can cut, you can, it's...
You are okay.
Yeah. It's make an announcement. Everybody knows where this, what's going on because you should be talking. So anyway, that's loss of visual reference. And this is interesting. Again, sun. I didn't even think about this.
Yeah.
Pointing to the west in the valley.
Yeah. In my first rescue, the right side door of the pilot iced up from an ice storm.
Oh, man.
So he can only see straight.
Yeah.
So he's in this weird position. So the co-pilot sitting in the left was just holding it at level altitude where he was, going left, right, forward, back. So very interesting. Anyway.
Split controls. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
During a rescue.
Yeah.
Another good case from Ryan.
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
So
Thanks, Lemmy.
we'll come back to that if you get another one. No, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, Sam, what do you got?
I gotta follow that up. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
you do.
So
Again, just a memorable rescue
Yeah.
one. I mean, this is what we hear. Everybody loves these stories. So
yeah, I've got a favorite one of mine. I think in particular because I got a chance to do somebody's first rescue. This was
somebody else's first
rescue. So this is when I'd first arrived in Mobile, and we were doing some night hoisting with our contract boat. It's an old 41-foot motor life boat that the Coast Guard had, and get this call, says like, we tell sector like, hey, we got a swimmer on board, like we can go out for the first SAR case if you got one. Like, all right, we have a medevac that we need. It's about 40 miles offshore. I don't know if it was a shrimp boat, it might have been a fishing boat, but somebody was in and out of consciousness. They were having heart trouble. So it was me, Zach Geyer, Dave Garman was the flight mech, and then John Claridge was our swimmer. He's now in Astoria. So, poor guy as a rescue swimmer, you guys know this, like going to Mobile for your first tour is not, it's tough, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to get out there, you're hungry, you want to get some rescues under your belt, and then you're sent to a training center where you're hopeful that you get some TDY time to Kodiak, or you get a hurricane. Obviously we don't hope for hurricanes in the Coast Guard, but you hope that might be a chance that you get to go use your skills that you've been training. So
agreed.
John's there. He'd been there for maybe 3 years, 2-3 years. But so nighttime, we head out there, and it's pitch black, and the weather was okay. Like that, like ceilings were fine, visibility not so great, just because it was so dark out. So there was no visible horizon, which made it pretty tough. But we got out there. And so the boat was maybe 50 feet long. Got them underway. They had their whole fantail, the whole back part of the ship had a covered awning with a ladder that went up through the awning. So we're like, all right, we'll put John down on the awning. He can walk down that ladder to the back of the boat. Inside, package the guy. We'll bring him back to the awning, and then easy pickup. We'll be on our way. So John goes down. Radio's back up. This guy's pretty banged up. He's in and out of consciousness.
Real quick, easy hoist to get him down there, no problem.
Easy hoist. Just a classic,
nice.
like Coast Guard nighttime underway hoist. Just as simple as we normally train it, right? And so next thing I know, I look down and I see John and two crewmen like fire carrying this dude out of the hull of the boat, and he's unconscious, and he is probably, 300 pounds. There's no way they're getting this dude up this small ladder to the covered front deck, and the only other place to take him from is the bow of the ship. And so we're looking at, in my experience, like I've been training DIWs, dead in the water. So, boat comes to full stop, we'll come over to the top of the bow, put the rescue device or swimmer down, usually not the swimmer, but the device down, and then pick up the person. But what happens is you have a tendency to spin. In this case,
move the vessel.
You start moving the boat, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, sometimes, right? You can use the rotor wash, the tail rotor, to try and keep the boat in the same spot. Sometimes you get enough power where you might want to just continue to follow the boat around in a circle. And so, first of all, I should have listened to the more experienced pilot sitting in the left seat. He tried to communicate to me about them getting underway, and I was like, I think I'm just going to do a DIW because that's what I'm normally used to. And to backtrack a little bit, in the Coast Guard, we do these DIW hoists traditionally to the stern of the boat, because the stern it's got a bigger open area. It's right. In this case, we couldn't because it was covered. And to add to that, so the bow of the ship, there was about a 3 by 5 foot space that John was in with this patient, trying to package him up. He just had the sling, so he's going to bring him up with a SAPU recovery. And right behind him was this foremast. They just had a mast on the front of the boat that was about 20, 30 feet tall. So it was like a really constricted area to try and get John back up and out with this patient. So
and you don't even think about doing underway hoist to the bow either. It just doesn't even cross your mind.
Yeah, and
right?
I want to jump back on that point after finishing up the story, because I think that's really important, especially in a training scenario. But so we get on there. I have never I've practiced a lot of DIW hoists in the Coast Guard, and I've had a few operational, and they have never ever been like I've practiced them. They are always different. They're always different, which I like.
So good to hear.
I routinely tell people that, like, hey man, change it up. Go do a bow hoist. Go do don't just follow the boat. Let it spin all over the place. Like, go from the opposite direction, because you never know. Like, I had another one where, like, it was spinning and it was also anchored, so it was spinning around in a circle around its anchor line while the boat was spinning 360s as we were trying to pick somebody off of there. But I digress. Back to the case. Right, we get in there. We do get John up successfully, trying to keep a tight hover. Safety pilots helped me out, and after I get John back in the plane, I look at him. I was like, "So what do we turn around? Maybe like 90 degrees?" And he's like, "No, we just did like 470 degrees." So
my God.
we had done a full 1.5 360s or whatever, without me even realizing, like a full 520. I guess that would be it. Thank you. Good math.
I got you.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, you're watching the boat. Your visual is on the boat, and you're just following as it's doing.
Yeah.
Circling.
As it's circling.
Yeah.
Yep. So got him up. And so the hovering part was difficult for me, but I wanted to highlight John because he did such a phenomenal job. Like, he's never had a SAR case before. He pivoted. He knew he couldn't get the guy to the top. He moved him to the front. He protected the guy the entire way up with that giant mast, and me trying to hold somewhat of an okay hover up there. And then we got him eventually got him to the hospital near the base in Mobile, and I don't know what happened to him, but I think he ended up being okay.
Nice.
But back to Ryan's point too, like in the training environment, we normally train to the bow, or to the stern of the boat, and doing a DIW hoist to the bow of a boat is not easy. I will say that to anybody who tries to go out there and do it.
Yep.
And my suggestion to them is have that boat get underway. So normally in the Coast Guard, we will be nose into the wind. We'll have the boat get underway about 45 degrees to the right of the wind line.
This is the book way, by the way.
This is the book way, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I want to emphasize that real quick because we're going to touch on that.
okay,
Go ahead,
yeah. So we are flying essentially in formation off the back of the boat, and we're going to slide right to get into the back quarter of the ship to put you down, or to put our device down.
Yep.
Well, if you shift the boat to being 45 degrees to the left of the wind, and you get in front of them, you can have them out your right window, and you can be sliding left the entire time, and you can do a hoist with the same type of good power management. You've got plenty of torque margin, better visuals, and you can kind of slide to the right and into the bow of the boat and then back away again. So obviously after that case, I practiced that, and I've practiced it a number of times now, just using a trail line.
Yeah.
Just keep it, eliminate some of the risk by maybe not putting the swimmer or the device down when you're doing it. But it is way easier, and man, do I wish I knew I wish I knew that technique when I went through that SAR case.
Well done. Well done. Nice job
good.
to you and your crew. So just for the record, that is why as swimmers we get our ass kicked in school.
Yeah.
Because your first case, you're going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
And that's what you expect, huh?
Yeah.
Am I lying?
No.
And then when you get it, you're like, oh, yeah. Oh, that's why they beat us in school.
Yeah.
That's why they push us as hard as they do.
Yeah.
So props to your swimmer, man.
Yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
his ability to think critically in that situation and then adapt. Like, we certainly weren't planning on picking him up with a sling. That wasn't a thought either.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get a basket in there because it was too small. So he definitely pivoted and did a great job. And kudos to John. It was so fun to have his first SAR case too.
Oh, that's so cool.
He's a great dude.
Yeah.
And Sam, if I can, I've been, it's cool being back in the fleet again, teaching SAR and stuff. This came up pretty recently actually for us, and when I was at HATS,
What?
the Army High Altitude Training.
Ryan
School.
collects hats. It's
I collect hats.
organization of mostly
it's an
70, 80-year-old
organization.
dudes. That
Oh,
hangs
okay.
out
I like the
with
90s.
hats.
The 90s
90s
Nickelodeon hats the best.
Oh,
Yeah, so the Army High Altitude School, they're teaching confined area landings, power management in a
Cool.
high altitude environment, right? I would the first couple days, I would show up and be like, oh, I see this area. This is kind of maybe what I should do. And the guy yelled at me, and the instructor, he's like, stop doing that. Show up, describe what you see.
Yeah.
And I started implementing that in SAR with some of the co-pilots and stuff of show up, describe what you see, and then come up with the plan of action that best fits what you see.
Yeah.
Don't show up this looks like a DIW because I guess the boat's DIW, right? It's show up, what do you see, and then go from there. And that's helped me in my career of being more open to the idea of not changing my plan, but just not getting stuck in the mud of a certain plan.
Yeah, slow down, man.
Yeah, slow down. Just
Slow
what do you
down.
see?
Slow is smooth.
Smooth
as fast.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because sometimes we'll fly out and like the transit could be 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And what do? You're talking about the SAR case that you're going to get there. What's the plan when we show up? All right, guys, this is what I'm thinking. This is what we got from sector whoever, right?
Yeah.
And does sector always give us the best information?
Yeah.
Nope.
Not always.
Yeah, they're sitting in a box.
So
too,
we're going off of
what?
this.
They're feeding us the information that they're getting.
That they have. That's
So-
true. And I'm not blaming sector, but we have this information, and sometimes we like to hold on to that information and formulate plans. And when we get on scene, we have a plan.
Yeah.
And sometimes we stick to that plan, even though we see things are not quite the way as they were described.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's what
I like that, dude.
That's actually what I was teaching on that SAR case, because we rolled up on scene and the boat was pointed one way with regard to the wind, and we're like, oh, cool, this looks like a right seat hoist to the back of the boat. And then all of a sudden the boat shifted because it went DIW when it beamed to the seas, and I was like, oh man, I guess it looks like things have changed. Let's reevaluate this plan. And like that we're teaching about how boats go DIW and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we're like, reevaluating the plan on scene
All the
and not
time.
being afraid of doing that.
Yeah, we were talking to Matt Kolb over there at Navy Flight School,
Yeah.
Coast Guard instructor, and he, I may butcher this just a little bit, but he's like, very simple, make it how you want it, right?
Yes.
And I was like,
yeah.
dude,
Oh,
that
I
is
love
so
that.
simple,
Oh, I
because
love
like,
it.
okay, I have a vision how I want it, I'm going to make it that way, and it's going to be a good idea. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Or, of course, be open to other
Sure.
people's things, but make it how you want it. And I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm going to put that in
Rather
my
than
little toolkit.
accepting
Oh, yeah.
like crap.
Yeah,
Rather
because
than accepting a bad
Yeah.
situation.
I accept crap sometimes, and I'm just like, I didn't really
Why?
have to do that,
Yeah.
but then I justify it by like, well, it challenged me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thanks,
Yeah.
world, for this
Why?
bag of crap.
Why? No, ask yourself, why are you... I mean, I'm all about a challenge, and I'm
Yeah.
all about making things difficult for you to learn, but why?
Yeah.
And here, hold on, let me throw one thing.
Yeah.
So let's say we go out and hoist to an offshore platform or rig offshore in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. We could go to a super confined area in between all the rigging and stuff, or we could simulate the confined area and aim for the middle of the H in the middle of the pad, so we have a clear flyaway or a clear landing and stuff.
Yep.
And we've done the exact same thing, but at one way, we actually put people and our equipment and crews at risk in the middle of, X, or we have a clear flyaway.
Yeah.
And when you can accept risk in training, sometimes it can be good though, because
True.
you cannot simulate the pucker factor.
Nope.
Or just holding people to a higher standard of, no, you floated on that. Yeah, we hit the middle of the H, but you were a mess.
Right.
Do that again, right?
Yeah.
We need to be honest with each other of that, because that's how you do what you just said better, right?
Yeah, but why do I want it? And I don't want to take away, because I love
please.
going down into confined areas and stuff, and I love that.
No,
but
I wouldn't say do that. Yeah,
exactly.
no.
So if you're moving around over the H and you're having a tough time
Yeah.
hovering, why do I want to be over all the confined area? Actual
don't.
confined? I don't.
Yeah.
No. Like, it's training, but you make training as hard as you want within the limits of actually,
Yeah.
So-
Aggressive, safe trading.
Yeah.
No, I think we do get on scene and like you start going down that path of that same plan. One, because of our community just being always on the go. It's like go.
We're always
on the go. Right.
And like for your listeners, right, the 65, you get in the aircraft and you start it up and we're already out of gas.
Yeah,
It's kind of
totally.
like the mentality, right? We're just a fuel limited aircraft, which makes us make decisions quicker, which I think makes us a pretty decent pilot and aircrew corps,
I agree.
specifically for getting our SAR cases done. But I think we sometimes forget that, yes, we don't have a lot of time on scene, but hey, 15 seconds of taking a few deep breaths and maybe one orbit around the boat, like that is a good place to start to just slow you down and then maybe identify those hazards that you didn't brief or you didn't know about before you got out there, and then you can continue that SAR case. And
60 seconds is a long time and not a lot of gas.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
the
that's a great point.
tactical pause, as I've heard it.
Yeah, the tactical pause.
Yeah, take a tactical pause.
Yeah,
Nice.
yep.
One of the things you brought up in that, and I thank you again for sharing that story.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But you mentioned, like, when you guys come in, and this is U.S. Coast Guard specifically, you asked the boat to go at like 45 degrees into the wind, so you guys are into the wind, and then you're going that forward and right fall on the vessel. That is the book world. That is, okay, I'm going to change to medical real quick, all right? The book world says a 120/80 blood pressure is normal, okay? So I'm with you. That's the book world. That's normal. Well, you know what? If you're tweaked a little bit with your blood pressure, maybe you're a little bit under. Maybe it's because you're a super high fit athlete and you have a better blood pressure than somebody else, right? So now let's go back to helicopters. Is that the best way to set up the boat? You know, maybe they're rocking and rolling and making it more difficult for you to hoist on at that 45 degree.
Yeah.
My favorite analogy is we are in a helicopter. We are the queen of the chessboard. We can go in any direction at any point in time as long as nothing gets in our way.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You can, rotate nose left.
Change it.
Yeah, change it. Move the boat. Maybe it's got to be a left-seated hoist because of the dynamic of it when that's your fly.
It's a short-nosed boat. Go 90 degrees so that you're leaned way over to the right and you have more visuals.
Yeah.
And it's also like, how fast is the boat going?
Yeah.
We always say clutch ahead. Make him go faster.
Yeah, floor it.
Yeah.
20 knot hoist.
Yeah, buddy.
Have you guys practiced that?
I have.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Doesn't have to be
Well,
that
hold
dramatic,
on, wait a
but
minute.
10,
You're
15.
through
Yeah.
ETL at
Yeah.
a calm
I've done a
sea
20
state.
knot tailwind hoist too.
I've done 20, 25 knot tailwind hoist.
That stuff's good to
Absolutely,
practice, man.
because now you do trail line. You have a 30 knot headwind.
Yep.
You can't get the trail line on deck. You have a 30 knot tailwind.
Yeah.
Trail line floats.
Yeah.
Goes right.
Yeah.
Right.
Goes right to the boat.
So I love that because there are limitations, right? Again, start with the book world and then alter to make it the best possible scenario. Again, all right, so let's go back. Why do you want to make it harder on yourself? You don't. Make it easy on yourself. Set yourself up for success. Hey, you know what? I don't even need you 45 degrees because now you're rocking and rolling at a 45 degree. You're pitching and the boat sucks. It's
Make
getting
that air metal case an LOC.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, but work the system to your advantage
Absolutely.
out there. And I, the other one is have you done a 20 knot forward airspeed? Well, what if it's a 30 knot headwind? Well, you're already in 30 knot headwind airspeed because you've got a 30 knot headwind coming at you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You
And
know?
the rotor
Stats
wash
onto it.
isn't going to affect the boat because it's way behind you.
Yeah,
Exactly. And I like to say
Think
the more
critically.
wind, the easier it is to hoist, and the easier it is the guy on the hoist. But yeah, no, I'm all about it. Start with the book world.
Yeah.
Because I'm all about the book world. I don't want to take that away. But then make it better for your situation.
Yeah,
Love it.
I think it's important to train in all those scenarios too, because we as a power limited aircraft put our nose into the wind. Like, you want to find
$9
out where
million windsock.
We're at $9 million windsock. You want to find out where the wind's coming from. Look at a 65 because we're most likely going to be pointed into it.
Yep.
But this aircraft hovers with the tailwind. This aircraft hovers with crosswinds.
Yep.
Are you comfortable doing that? Maybe not. How do you become more comfortable? You practice it, right?
Yep.
And it could be simply just, hey, we got a 10 knots of wind. Let's go practice that hoisting profile over a runway, sliding with a tailwind, see how that feels. I got a perfect place down, my gear's down. I can just land if something, something
Exactly.
feels wrong, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to have that feeling, and then you're just going to be a better asset when you get out there. So
I did ramp hoisting the other day. Ramp hoisting could be super boring, right?
Yeah.
15 knot left crosswind, and the co-pilot was like, "Oh man, we're leaned way over right now."
Well, yeah. You're
it's
in a
different.
crosswind.
It's different, right? Feel that feeling, right? You can make seemingly benign, dumb training days amazing.
Yeah.
If you try.
Right.
we haven't heard his favorite
Yeah.
case yet.
No, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Oh,
we also
man.
have to ask him about Mark Wahlberg. I heard.
Oh,
there's a Wahlberg story.
Should I lead with that, or should I tell my SAR
I want to
story
hear the
first?
good
Let's
SAR.
start with the
I
story.
want to hear good SAR.
Okay. And
Mark
can't let
Wahlberg
you
is
out the
from
hook.
Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, no big deal.
dude, everybody knows that.
Marky Marky.
Just wanted to make sure you knew
Yeah.
Yep.
that he's
America's
wicked awesome.
hero. America's hero.
He's wicked awesome.
You know, he's short too, man.
You would know because
Are you
you've been
not-
in close
are you knocking
proximity.
him, or
So
like-
I am a little bit, but you know, like some of the better actors are short guys. Tom Cruise, short guy.
Great guy.
Yeah, I was surprised though, and I was like, you know, because I think I'm about 5. I think I'm 5'8", and
5'7".
so I go on Google and I'm like, how tall is Mark Wahlberg? And they said about 5'8", and I'm like, that's bullshit, man. I was next to him. He was not 5'8".
Shorter.
Ah,
Yeah, he's shorter than that. He's probably like 5'4", dude.
wow.
But
All right.
Google says 5'8".
Yeah.
Good for Mark.
He's got the hair though.
Huge arms. His
Yeah,
arms?
He's
Yeah.
got
He's
got
jacked.
cannons.
Your arms are bigger though.
Hey,
Jason.
that's what I'm talking about.
You think
Thank
so?
you.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
not.
Probably.
My SAR case, it's going to be another swimmer one, man. I had a lot of great experience. So I got stationed down in New Orleans, And it was, I think, the pinnacle of my Coast Guard career. We worked really, really hard, and we also played really, really hard. And I was in my mid-20s, and I didn't have a whole lot of responsibility, and life was good.
Love it.
Yeah, man. It was, it would have been, I'll tell you, basically, it was like a fall of one year, got called out, and this is going to be really, really quick, and then I'm going to jump 6 months later. We got a call out for a shrimp boat captain with an amputated leg, and packed a couple extra tourniquets. We went out, pulled this guy off of the shrimp boat via basket, and took him back to the hospital, dropped him off, and I think we saved his life. He was bleeding out. Spanish-speaking crew. He was the guy who we were communicating with on the radio.
The guy with the amputated leg.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so we're flying out.
Whoa.
Our aircraft commander is doing the hoist brief, and he goes, okay, lower stow, all your loose gear, rigging, booms, flagstaffs, all that stuff.
That's really good, by the way. Nice brief.
I know. I almost have it memorized. And hey, this is going to be we're gonna lower a rescue swimmer, and then we're planning on doing a basket recovery of the patient. And he goes, okay. I guess I'll let you guys go and get ready now, since you'll be picking me up soon. We're like, wait a second.
What?
You're the dude that it has no leg. So
Wow.
get
I'd
lowered
be
down
crying
to
in the corner. Sorry,
Oh,
man.
man.
I'm not talking about
These
the
guys
radio.
are tough.
Wow.
Shrimp boat captains and commercial fishing crew in the Gulf of Mexico are tough dudes. Yeah, tough dudes. So anyways, 6 months later, the SAR alarm goes off. I'm on duty, and they go, hey, we got a shrimp boat captain in the Gulf of Mexico with an amputated leg.
6
Same
months
guy.
later.
Yeah.
Same guy, different leg?
That would be a funny story.
Wow.
Bad luck. So I'm like, dude, cool. Like, I'm not as nervous now. I've seen this before. I know what I need to do. I'm bringing another tourniquet, and let's load up and let's go. So we fly out, and very similar circumstances. Spanish-speaking crew. Somehow they're able to relay a message to the Coast Guard that we needed help. We get on scene, and not really sure what the circumstances are, again, because it was Spanish-speaking crew. We just knew that this guy was hurt and he was missing a leg. So basically, the Gulf of Mexico's kicking that day. It's nasty. I'll share this with you guys as I'm talking. I got a picture of the boat.
Nobody else is going to see
Yeah,
that
it's
picture.
great for
I wanna
an
see it.
audio
Like,
podcast here.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Everybody's going to listen. I'll do
this-
my best to explain
This
it.
is a reaction. I just want you to
dang.
see.
Ooh,
It's a reaction
wow.
photo.
Okay,
Does
so this
not
means
look like the Gulf.
We might need to actually post this picture so everybody can see
You could.
it.
Yeah,
All
that'd
right.
be great, man.
Yeah.
If that's cool.
Yeah,
then
his
I'll do it.
mustache. Jeez.
Fishing vessel, Southern Cross, I think it is. And so basically what happened, Gulf of Mexico's kicking. The shrimp boat captain goes, hey guys, this is a risky evolution. I'm going to drop anchor, and we're just going to post up until the storm passes. And if you zoom in on the bow of that picture, you'll see yellow rain slicks. That's where the guy was laying when we showed up. He'd been laying there for 2 hours.
Wow.
until we showed up.
So I'm looking at pretty gnarly waves, like
Yep.
especially for the Gulf of Mexico, because they don't usually get that big.
Yep, exactly.
And there is rigging everywhere. Well played, sir. Nice crack of that can. Yeah, rigging everywhere on this ship. You know what? I will post this on Instagram if that's cool.
Yeah.
With the podcast, so
Cool.
you guys can check it out.
So basically, talk to the crew. We do the crew brief, and the guys are like, well, yeah, they're DIW. There's rigging everywhere. We'll see if we can get you on the boat. If not, then we'll have you swim to the stern. And I'm thinking, from a swimmer perspective, I'm like, how are we going to get this guy off if it's going to be so hard to get me on this boat? And also, he's 300 pounds, 6'4".
Oh man.
Minus a portion of his leg, so maybe he's like 295 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Dang.
And so, anyways, get to the boat,
Skinny
and
legs right
and
there.
his crew was more than eager to help me out. I go up to him. They did like a makeshift tourniquet to stop the bleeding. It's basically like tightly wound cotton wrap towels or something, t-shirts. And basically, what happened? The guy was dropping his anchor chain. Or dropping an anchor, and the anchor chain paid out from port hole on the starboard bow side, and he stepped into the bite
way
of
is
the chain.
starboard?
Left
Right.
side.
Ooh.
Okay.
Starboard's right.
I know.
Starboard
I said that.
right.
I'm
Come
just
on,
messing with.
man.
I'm messing around.
Got
dude.
him.
Jeez, old
Hey,
man.
Got him. You're a sailor.
I just
dude.
want to make sure you
You're a
guys
sailor.
were
Oh,
tracking.
okay,
I just
yeah,
make sure you're
yeah.
listening.
Yeah,
So he stepped in the bite of the anchor chain. It grabs his leg, and it pulls his entire body to the port that the chain's paying out of, and it pops his leg straight off into the Gulf of Mexico. He laid there bleeding.
Oh my.
Yeah.
God.
So we ultimately, myself, his crew, carried him back to the stern of the boat. And I said, hey, guys, radioed up to the helicopter. I said, hey, want to do a trail line with the litter, and we'll keep the trail line attached. And then you guys can pick me up after you hoist them up. So got the litter, kept everything attached, packaged them up, sent them up, and then I got picked up. Dude, we transported him to Lafayette Hospital over there in Lafayette, Louisiana, probably the closest one. Dude, I was smoked, man. I think I was like dehydrated. I had a puddle of sweat in the bottom of my dry suit. The little booties.
Yeah.
It was gross, man.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Helicopter was out of gas, so they dropped us off.
As soon as you guys take off.
They bounce, they go get gas, and I'm like I'm just hanging out there waiting for them to come back or pick me up in the GV. And the best part was the nurses and doctors and a drug rep. They're like, "Hey man, you hungry?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I got blood all over my stuff." And they're like, "You should come up, have some gumbo." I was like,
yeah,
dude, I was eating gumbo, and the rest of the crew showed up in a GV or something like that to come pick me up, or a crew car or something from the FBO. Dude, it was cool.
Hero
man.
status again, man.
It was cool,
the
dude.
Swimmer, just like I said before, dude.
That's because you guys left us.
Yeah, whenever you put a swimmer down on a cruise ship, you got to watch out because they pull on the hoist hook to try to get you to overtorque.
Yeah. No, I'm sailing to Mexico now.
Can I have a stipend? Toss my wallet.
I say all this joking in complete respect, because when you guys go down in some heavy seas in the middle of the night and it's freezing cold, and I got the heat going because my hands are cold, like honestly, like you guys, it's incredible what you
Thank
guys
you.
do. It really is incredible what you guys do.
Watching them do the surf swim at AHARS is usually like the eye-opening of, oh shit, these guys can do
depends
it.
on the day.
Yeah. That's not an easy swim. Some people can't make it past the breakers too.
Yeah, no.
Gnarly
That's
swim.
definitely a pride swim too, because you're like, dude, I'm not going to be the guy that doesn't make it past the breakers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I went, so one of the years that I went, I made it through the breakers. The 860 had to come by to me, because you always swim in buddies, so you go in pairs out.
Yeah.
And I got out, and they were like, "You gotta swim back." They're just pointing to shore. I'm like, "Oh, I guess we gotta swim back."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, we made it."
We made it. Turn around.
So
They told me to come back.
Yeah.
That case in particular, kind of bringing it full circle.
Yeah.
I ended up driving out and seeing this guy again.
Oh wow.
And it was cool. It was cool, man. I brought him a patch. I go. What's your plan? What are you gonna do? And he's like, dude, this is my life. I'm going to get back on the boat in like 3 weeks, and I'm going to get back to work. And I was like, dude, you are tough.
Wow.
That's awesome.
It was cool, man. We provided, dude, the Coast Guard provides a good service
Oh yeah.
to American,
Yeah.
citizens.
Gift.
Basically anybody, right?
Yeah, is
You don't need to be a citizen.
No, you don't have to
You
be. That's
just
what
need
I'm
to
saying.
just be
Yeah, no,
interested.
it's anybody. Like, you know what? Let's talk about it, because what's here is the Astoria. The guy stole the boat. It got rolled over. Everybody has seen this on Instagram. And then, the Coast Guard goes and rescues him because he called Mayday.
Yeah.
Well, there's some way funnier parts of that.
I know.
story.
Don't even go there, because
gotta talk to him
You're gonna talk to him, right?
The crew is coming. The crew
No,
is
we're
coming.
not. We're not sharing. We're just teasing.
Yeah,
you gotta talk to those guys.
I am so excited. So I've talked to those guys, but seeing you guys are here now, thank you for those stories. Like that's friggin' awesome, man. Good job.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Crushed
That's,
it.
Happy to share.
Crushed
yeah.
it.
Really.
Killer, your whole crew, and just hoisting down through the rigging of a shrimp boat like that is, holy cow, that's tough. Oh, as a hoist operator, and I can say that now because I hoist, and dude, it's legit to get into a confined area like that.
Yeah.
It is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So
I'll share one thing real quick too, and this is something I've thought about, like in regards to the locking hoist hook, right? So like, why do we lock the hoist hook? Why shall it be locked when we're doing rescue swimmer? Litter deployments and recoveries.
So real quick, hold on,
Yep.
because there are many different hoist hooks out there.
Okay.
The Coast Guard is using the Capewell slide lock hoist hook. So you open
Definitely knew that.
yeah, and then you slide up and down.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right. Yeah,
Yep.
you're welcome.
So-
I know you didn't know that. So
Not the brand name, no.
yeah.
Brought to you by GoCoastGuard.com.
Go.
So anyways, so this is my theory, and it could be completely BS, but worst case scenario, if you did not if you don't lock the hoist hook, and you're pulling that basically whatever the rescue device is through all that rigging, what happens if it clasps onto one of those like
Oh yeah.
pieces of cable that are just, out in one of the trawling arms or something like that? Dude, you're done.
Oh yeah.
You're done,
Yeah.
and you're stuck, and you're probably gonna have a serious oh shit moment. So that's my plug for lock the hoist hook.
Mm-hmm.
It's important, more so than just maybe the V-ring lifting off, because that's probably
Dynamic
less.
rollout.
That's
Yep.
probably exactly. That's the term I was going to use.
Nick, can I ask you a
know,
question? How important is it to you, your prior knowledge? How much has that helped you in your essay or just the way you conceptualize SAR cases?
Which would be
How is that-
situational awareness.
Yes.
Wow.
How has that helped
Damn.
you in your career?
You guys are crushing it.
I think all, there's two things that stick out to me. One, being able to visualize where the hoist hook, hoist cable, rescue swimmer, or device is relative to my seat position and where it needs to go. The flight mech's conning us in, but I'm also maybe one step ahead. Like, I think I know where it needs to go. He's providing me, the clear guidance to get there. So that's the first part. And then the second part is just communicating with the crew, right? So I feel like sitting in the back of a helicopter and listening to hoist briefs and hoists and all those evolutions for all the RT2s and RT4s that we've done, dude, that's stuck with me. And I can pick up on cues sometimes that's like, all right, the flight mech is now stressed. Like something might not be going smooth.
Yep.
And it might be my fault. I might be making him stressed out. Maybe
that.
I'm
Yeah.
not holding a good hoist right now.
Hover. That would be a good hover.
Hover, thank you. You're correcting me left and right.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
I'm trying to help the listeners, man.
How do you
Yeah,
help
thank you.
junior pilots that don't have that experience? We're not prior mechs swimmers.
Oh, can
How
I
do you
answer
help
this
them?
one?
Yeah,
Yes.
please.
Put them on the hook. Let me ask you something. Ryan, have you ever ridden the hook?
No, we got weathered out that day.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Sam, have you ridden the hook?
Yep.
Good for you.
Yep.
This is something that I highly recommend every pilot do. And I mean that. Like, it's not scary. It really isn't. But you have a perspective, and if you have like some sort of way to listen to what's going on in the aircraft, like an access system, so then you can hear the con, the brief, the flight mech, because you guys are flight mechs, hoisting, you understand what's going on in the back. And
I
you're
love
like,
that.
oh, got it. All right.
Yeah.
He's at the cabin door. I'm booming in. He's coming inside the cabin. So when your eyes are up front or fixated on whatever visual reference is to hold that hover, now you're like, you know exactly what it's doing because you've been on the hook.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. What were you going to say?
No, that's
Come on,
good.
Nick.
So those are the two pieces, right? Being able to kind of visualize like what's going on below me, and then two, the comms piece, and trying to pick up on subtle cues that maybe might not be familiar to a newer pilot, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm picking up like, okay, we're crushing it. Like the comms are smooth, clear, confident. Like we're going places. Or hey, flight mech's voice is starting to get shaky.
Yep.
Something might not be going smooth here. Like,
Yep.
So those are all important cues. Another little plug here for folks that would probably benefit, maybe pilots perhaps, or flight mechs. Dude, put them on the back of a boat and tug on that trail line with some rotor wash going on. Not as easy as most
Tending
think.
trail line
No.
stuff.
Dude, it's like wrangling a little anaconda
Yeah.
steak, man. It's not easy. That thing's shaking around. Sam, why are you shaking your head right now,
Nothing,
dude?
Nothing. Keep going.
You never wrangled a snake before?
No,
I hate snakes.
Come on,
I
man.
haven't particularly wrangled any snakes
Are you
in my day.
when you tend trail line or tag line? You probably call it tag line now, right?
Trail
Yeah.
line, guideline.
Are you a stand up tend the tag line or trail line guy? Or are you a take a knee? I was always I take a single knee and then tuck that excess underneath my knee.
That's what I like to do. I take
Okay.
a knee. I have better stability.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can keep the trail line, tag line, guideline, whatever you guys want to call it.
Yeah.
Like right in between my knee and then my other leg that's up.
Yep.
So that I know where it's going. And then I always strategically place myself depending on where the aircraft is going to fly away, so that I'm not going to wrap up anything. So
Dude, you're good.
there's little nuances, like you start learning.
Yeah.
It's amazing what experience does, and this is another thing that I love about the podcast community is that we're sharing stuff that we've learned, putting it out for everybody to be like, oh, that's bullshit, or well, I'd never do it like that anyway.
Yep.
And be like, okay, cool, give me a better way to do it, and I'll try it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah, for
that's-
sure.
Yeah, so I like to take a knee. I keep the tagline right in front of me, trail line right in front of me,
Uh-huh.
and then, there's other things that I like to do.
Yeah.
You just asked us about our favorite SAR case, but do you have a particular one that you've done with the Coast Guard or you've done with your job now?
I have a couple actually. Yeah, but this is not my. This
We
is
can ask you tomorrow on the other
Why
show.
not?
You know what?
Okay.
I'll tell you what. For me, for the Real Rescue, episode 1, episode 100, those are my 2 biggest SAR cases that I had.
Okay.
The first one landed me an air medal, and the whole crew earned an air medal on that one. That was amazing. And then I earned the Distinguished Flying Cross up in Alaska for saving a couple guys off the boat. Episode 101 is the captain that I saved in the prequel. So you hear everything that happened on the boat before we showed up.
Wow.
The explosion,
That's
the
cool.
fire, the whole 9 yards.
Dude, that's
So,
great.
yeah. So
Check
it was
out.
fun. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So well,
I'll listen to it.
You can ask me when I'm on Flight Suit Friday. Okay.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
I'll give you some.
Gotcha.
You got to ask Nick how he knows Marky Mark, though.
Oh yeah, Marky Mark.
Okay, so we did Air Station New Orleans again.
No big deal.
Man, let's see. The MOPIC, the motion picture crew, it's like a chief and a warrant officer. They come out from Hollywood, or sorry, L.A., right? And that's where they're stationed. And they're coordinating the Coast Guard's, I guess, responsibilities for the Deepwater Horizon movie that's being filmed in town. And I thought we were just going out to fly around and like they were just going to take some aerial videos of us or something like that. You know what I mean? Like this one of those things, like you just show up
The
and you're like,
swimmer
I don't know
never
what's going on.
really knows what's happening.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, we need you to be this spot this time. Roger that, sir.
It's anonymous.
Next thing I know, man, I'm all mic'd up, and Mark, like they have us in a, we're on deck, and there's cameras around us, and we're spinning, and we're all up on ICS, and Peter Berg, the director, I think that's his name, Peter Berg. Yeah.
Go with it.
Right.
I don't remember.
He goes, hey man, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have Mark Wahlberg sit like backwards, facing backwards, right behind the pilot's seat, and I want you to straddle him, and he's gonna try to fight to get out of the helicopter. And I was like, why would anybody do that? That seems weird. And he's like, do you guys administer drugs? And I was like, no. He's like, all right, well, all right, we're not going to do that. But his vision was Mark acts up, tries to get out of the helicopter because he's delirious because he just went through this event, and he thinks it's an ambulance for some reason.
Yeah.
And the director goes, and I want you to shoot him up with like a tranquilizer or something. I'm like, yeah, it's not something we do, man. Like, it's really kind of a strange
You
concept.
just pin him down, and be like, listen, you're with me. I own you.
And
Sorry, Mark.
So he we do a couple takes, and he's fighting to get out of the helicopter, and I have to grab
You
him
had
and
to
put
fight
him
Mark
put him
Wahlberg?
back up, push him back up against the pilot's chair, and yeah, man.
That's cool.
Everything I just told you is a complete lie. It actually never happened. No, I'm kidding.
Mark
So it did
Wahlberg, if
actually
you
happen.
hear this, heard you lost a fight to a rescue swimmer in the Coast Guard.
What?
If you want to get on our show, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool though. It was a cool experience, and we ended up
cool.
flying around. Yeah, dude. That's all I got for that.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Was
that.
he cool?
It's an awesome story.
Yeah, I thought like it was kind of weird because it's like a one night stand,
Yeah.
I was like,
You got pretty up close and personal.
He showed up, and then like we did our thing, and then he kind of walked away, and I was like, no small talk, no nothing, man. Like, I think he shook my hand.
Yeah.
No swag, no swag.
He broke up with you quick, man.
Dude,
Ah,
it was
jeez.
disappointing.
He left you.
Yeah, not important.
He was like, I'll call you later.
He was-
and
well,
then never did.
And never call you
Ghosted.
again.
he was just not impressed. You know what I mean?
Not impressed.
Yeah, I had a poor performance, and he let me know that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Dude, that's awesome. All right, guys. Listen, we've been on for about an hour and a half, man.
Oh, dang.
So I'll tell you what. Let's start wrapping this up a little bit. But I like to ask all my guests to come on. A little advice you'd pass on to those. And I've got 3 guys with 10, 14 and 16 years of experience in the Coast Guard. Like, what would you pass on to some guys that are not in the Coast Guard? Stuff that you do, stuff you've seen, how you train. Just a little piece of advice. Ryan?
Oh, one's looking at me.
Yep.
Look, I said this on one of our earlier shows, but it's been a mantra that I've been kind of instilling lately. It's that what we do is not a hobby, and be intentional with what you do. Choose a landing spot and land there. Choose a hoisting spot, hoist there. Aim small, miss small, and stop just treating this like a hobby, because we do this professionally and take it seriously. And when the alarm goes off or when the call goes out, you need to be at your best. And you need to be at your best even if you're not there, right? And really feeling it. We've all had off days. You need to win with your B game. And so you've got to train hard and be ready for that. and be able to win no matter what game you're bringing to the table that day. And it begins with always being intentional when you fly and just not treating this like a joke, because it's not a hobby. It's for real, and the stakes matter, and so treat it like that.
I like it.
Always getting better. Yeah. We got a chance to record with the Brotalion guys earlier today, and I'll use the same thing I said to them because it sums it up for me in a few short words, but be hungry and be humble. And I think that can kind of, I mean, it obviously translates in the aviation industry, but for those who are interested in it or interested in anything in life, like, be hungry about whatever that thing is that makes you excited. Get after it, get better, and then be humble about it as well. Like, you will be able to relate with people a whole lot better with a little bit of humility than with some bravado and like you're the best. So steer clear of like the bravado and being the best and letting people know that. And have a little humility as you're working through a couple of those things. So it's helped me in my time. I think I definitely started earlier in my career. I was a ship driver back before I started flying, and I screwed up some stuff, and then I thought I was really good, and then I screwed up some more stuff again, and then I looked at myself. I still have a sticky note from when I was an ensign, 12, 13 years ago, and it says "Be humble" on it. And it also says everybody makes mistakes. Have some humility. Everybody makes mistakes. And I think that's really important. So, yeah, be hungry and be humble.
I like that.
Yeah.
Nick, what you got?
Two things. Basically, yeah, we were talking about this earlier, too, and I didn't want to kind of recycle the same thing, but I think I'm going to recycle the same thing.
Do it.
What we do is extremely hard at times. If it wasn't hard, I don't think we'd be talking around podcasts and sharing stories and trying to learn and try to get better each time. I find it to be very easy sometimes too, right? But there's never really a middle ground. So basically it's challenging. On the flip side, what we do is also very, very rewarding as well. We talked about a couple cases. Sometimes the outcome's not always the best, right? But when you have one of those outcomes where you're like, you know what, man? I think we were the solution that saved this person's life. You can ride that high for a couple months.
Yeah.
You remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a good feeling, dude.
Yeah.
So, for the folks out there that maybe are interested in maritime search and rescue or aviation, just know, hey, it's very challenging. Sometimes it's hard to get into, but when you do it, it's very rewarding.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a small group of us,
This is something
too.
you got to work for.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's interesting. Helicopter world in general is a very small community.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you dive into search and rescue in the helicopter community. That's even smaller. And I'm going to throw us in there. Rescue specialists, rescue swimmers. Yeah, now we're even smaller. So it's
No kidding.
You just keep dwindling down. All of a sudden you're talking to a guy that was in Kazakhstan and you're like, hey, dude, weren't we just together over there in such and such country? Yeah. No, we were.
Yeah.
So it's cool. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I add one thing? Take care of yourself.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Take care of other people. And obviously you want to take care of your family, but make sure you're looking out for yourself, because this can be a tough job sometimes. And so it's important to do that. But man, I love you guys' advice. Nick and Sam, that was awesome. That was sweet. Thank you. I love learning from these guys all the time.
That's all I got, dude.
Yeah. Sam's just full of advice.
No, that's the only one piece of advice.
You just got to give him a couple more beers and he hits you with more.
He's so wise.
He's so wise.
So freaking
when he has
wise.
his mustache, he's even wiser.
Yeah,
that is true.
Right now, he just looks like a turtle or
I
something.
look so bad. You're absolutely right.
Oh, man.
Sorry. I'm
Love
just
it,
kidding.
guys. I love it.
You guys, I absolutely love this. We could literally sit here and talk for another hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
I would not be upset. I know everybody else is like, holy cow, I can't believe it's already over an hour and a half right now. So let's catch up again. And if
Please.
I can get you guys back at one point or another, man,
Yeah.
I'm all about the stories. I'm all about the lessons learned. It helps everybody out there. So
Yeah, love what you're doing, man.
hey, thank you.
Your
I
podcast
appreciate
is
what you
great.
guys
Love
are
it.
doing.
You
Yeah.
are
The
crushing
honesty
it.
is great, too.
Yeah, this is awesome.
It's important.
Well, I appreciate you guys. And again, special shout out to the U.S. Coast Guard for letting us get this booth together for us to record here at HAI 2023. So
GoCoastGuard.com.
Yeah, join us. Let's do some cool stuff.
right on. I love it. Because those in distress are praying for a miracle. They're going to get you guys.
Whoa.
That's ooh,
Done. And with that,
Unbelievable.
ladies and
Love
gentlemen,
it.
we are out of here. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real ResQ podcast. Please take a minute to like, subscribe, and hit that share button. I'm pulling chocks and taking off. But before I go, if anyone out there has a rescue story they would be willing to share, I would be humbled and honored to have you on as a guest. Or if you have any questions about rescue or anything else we talk about here, send an email to jason@therealresq.com. That's Jason at TheRealResQ.com. You can also check us out on our web pages, therealresq.com, our Facebook page, and our Instagram page @TheRealResQ. Again, a special thank you to all of you staying on the watch today. Always remember, when that SAR alarm goes off, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. Until next time, fly safe and swim hard.